When trainees first come through the pipeline, they'll get to the shop and they'll think that day one they're going to get to go out and work on the aircraft. But for the most part, they have to go through some initial training, they have to go through orientation, things of that nature. So it's usually a few weeks before they're actually out on the flight line doing the work.
The biggest thing is that you're not going to be fixing aircraft right away. You need to learn the basics before you do the harder things.
When you are in tech school, you know you are aircraft armament. Trainees do assume that you are going to be using live munitions, but in reality you're not. You're going to be using inert munitions, dummy rounds. The only time you'll actually use live munitions is if you are actually trying to complete a mission.
When you get there, you have to learn the fundamentals of maintenance, so wiring, and then learning the maintenance side of the weapons.
There's 2 phases of tech school for aircraft armament. You have the beginning phase, which is basically you learn your tools, you learn how to safety wire, you learn how to electrically diagnose a problem. Once you get out onto the second phase of your tech school, you are learning to drive munition trucks, the machines that lift the bomb and make it easier for you to apply them to the aircraft. Once you get to the floor, you will basically start learning the munitions, the panels, and all that.
Dedication is definitely a factor to get through training. Study as hard as you can, ask as many questions, maybe even do some research on your own, talk to more experienced maintainers, anything you can do to learn more about the job or more about the aircraft you know you might be working on.
If you're not willing to put in the time to study all the complicated details of it, you might not do so well with the block tests.
A block is a series of instruction on a specific subject, and then at the end of each block there's a test.
They can vary from 10 questions all the way up to 100, depending on what you're learning. If you do not pass the block test, you don't go forward to the next portion of the training. My advice would be keep your nose in the book. When the instructor highlights certain items, highlight those items. Make sure you know what that section is. It doesn't take that much time to go back and read and to do the cumulative reviews in the book and to go over the questions and then to self-test your questions with your classmates.
When you're in technical training school, you have to start learning the theory first prior to understanding the application, because your theory is your base knowledge. Your theory is where things start. I would say 98% of what we learn is on-the-job training.
Some of the aspects that you learn on the job is how to do the job faster, honestly. Tech school does a really good job of telling you, hey, these are the basics. Here's how to hold a drill. Here's how to drill. Here's what you're looking for when you're drilling. And then when you go on the job, you're really learning, okay, this is how you really hold the drill to make sure that you're fast and efficient and that you don't really have to do it twice.
Not one maintainer knows everything about an aircraft. It takes a team of people.
You're paired with other airmen, senior airmen, to teach you all the things that they've been taught. And that knowledge gets continually passed down from the staff sergeants to the tech sergeants, who are responsible in making sure that you are constantly being trained on the job.
I think when new trainees get to their first duty station, their first love is finally touching a unit and it has a problem and they fix it. And everything all of a sudden clicks. It's one of the coolest things to see when somebody finally clicks and they get it and they've done it. They've become a mechanic.